Technically, we finally have a new Tesla model, the Tesla Model Y L, the long wheelbase version of, well, the Tesla Model Y, a 3-row, 6-passenger SUV. Longer, more room, more cargo capacity, 7 inches longer, 6 inches longer at the wheelbase, 1 inch taller. We got a big boy Model Y. There's a lot to talk about. Now, in essence, this is just a bigger version of the Tesla Model Y, at least in its overall design. But there are a lot of changes, particularly in the interior, that make this vehicle a lot more appealing and has me excited for this vehicle hopefully coming to the United States. There's a lot to cover here, but if we jump over to the Tesla China website, we have the Model YL order now. In fact, if you go to the Tesla Chinese order page, it is the same Model Y order page. If your rear-wheel drive, your long-range all-wheel drive, and then right here, the Model YL. We'll go over these figures in just a second, but going back over to the website, this thing is just a bigger Model Y. I will say, odd enough, I feel like the Model Y does look a little bit better bigger. But you can see just from some of these pictures, interior alone is much different. It seems almost much more closer to a Model S X, particularly X interior, compared to the, well, regular Model 3 and Y interiors. Now, starting off, I think the most obvious thing here, the front seats are much different. And Tesla kind of went all out when it came to the front seats, which I think it's kind of blowing my mind because when I hear the word Tesla, I typically think of a company kind of cheaping out on some things. Tesla is infamously known to remove features of cars. For instance, June 2021, they removed lumbar because Elon said that virtually no Tesla Model 3 or Y owners were using it. And so after June 2021, pretty much all production units after that have no lumbar. Well, this Model YL not only has lumbar, okay, it also has thigh support, which is nuts, and an adjustable headrest. This seat is big, it's bolstered, it looks really comfortable, and it has a ton of adjustments and options, which again seems kind of opposite to what we know Tesla for. But that's where I say this vehicle feels special. It feels like Tesla is kind of showing that they can provide more value for their customers in an awesome, positive way. Now, yes, this is a 3-row, 6-passenger SUV. 2 seats in the front, driver, passenger, captain's chairs in the middle, second row, 2 seats in the very back for the third row. All 6 of these seats are heated. The front 4 seats, the passenger and driver seats in the front, as well as the second row, are both ventilated and heated, which is absolutely awesome. Bringing this over to the Model Y. And again, this kind of shows that Tesla's shown a bit of their game when it comes to the Model YL. And while we're talking about seats, we got to talk about the captain's chairs in the Model YL, which have a lot going on. First, it's captain's chairs in a Tesla Model Y. Awesome. These seats, just like the front seats, also have lumbar and thigh support. Awesome. And adjustable headrests. Awesome. And the seats also tilt back 125 degrees. And so you can kind of almost lounge in your Tesla Model YL, which is absolutely awesome. The coolest part of this seat, at least to me, is the armrest is powered. It's retractable, which I feel like is probably the first time we've had a powered armrest in a vehicle ever. Please, someone call me out on that. What other vehicles have a powered armrest? Again, it seems kind of off-brand for Tesla, complicating something that really doesn't have to be complicated. There is a button right on the side of the seat next to the seatbelt that you can press that can retract or bring back up the armrest. I believe you can also control it from the screen, and it will automatically retract when you fold the seats down. Just like the new generation Tesla Model Y, the second and third row seats are all powered down and power up. So you press a button, the seats will fold down, press a button, they'll come back up. With the armrest up, when you press the button, the armrest will go down and the seats will all fold flat, which is perfect. Now, this is a Chinese vehicle. First, still not confirmed it's going to come to the United States. I think it absolutely will. But it is known that a lot of Chinese SUVs are kind of camping vehicles as well. It seems a lot of Chinese OEMs, automakers, seem to tout their vehicles as glamping vehicles as well. And Tesla has kind of shown that they're going the exact same route with some of the videos and pictures that they're using, and with the seats being able to fold flat, which is going to be perfect for many of you who want to go camping in your Teslas, which is awesome. Now, while we're back here talking about the second and third row, we also got to talk about new vents being added to the pillars, the B and C pillars of, well, the Tesla Model Y L. I think one of the larger complaints that people have in their Teslas, particularly their Tesla Model Y, is that, well, the second row literally has one vent, and that is the center vent under the center screen. Well, the Tesla Model Y has a bunch of vents, okay? There is vents for the third row for each passenger, vents in the second row for each passenger, as well as a larger center screen vent for passengers. And so this is going to provide more air for the second and third rows. Makes me wonder if this Model Y L has another like AC unit that's going to be able to provide more air or flow for the Model Y L, more vents, which means that there's lower air pressure. And so I wonder if there's another AC unit, or they're just going to be using the original AC unit. I wonder how powerful the third row and how effective it's going to be at cooling, being all the way back there, getting less of the pressure from the AC. That makes sense. Now, the new Model Y L has an 18 speaker audio system. That's compared to 15 in the Tesla Model Y regular version and 22 in the Tesla Model X. It'll be interesting to see how this compares to, well, the regular Model Y. I mean, the Model Y sound system is already good, lengthening the vehicle by 7 inches, new seats. I don't think it's going to change much. Add 3 speakers. I'm sure the sound system is still going to be absolutely excellent, if not better. Also exploring the interior of this vehicle, the headliner is black for this black interior. And from the lighter colored light gray interior that Tesla also showed in teasers, it seems that the headliner will also be black for that interior as well. It's a lot different than what we see in the Model 3 and Y. From the beginning of production for both of those vehicles, the headliner has been that light white cream color. It has never been any other color, regardless of what color leather you get, black or white. Also, this Model Y comes with a new paint color, Starlight Gold paint. I think this looks swell. Everyone knows I love silver neutral car colors. Our whites, our blacks, our silvers, and this gold is absolutely right up the alley, and it looks absolutely stunning. I don't think, the drawing that Tesla has here in the configurator does it justice. Some of these pictures actually, these blurry pictures, actually do it a lot better justice to me, and I think make the vehicle stand out even more. It's a beautiful paint color. The wireless chargers in the Model Y L are now cooled. If you've ever charged your phone on a vehicle wireless charger, particularly a Tesla wireless charger, it's more like a phone warmer, okay, phone toaster, than it is a actual wireless charger. I mean, it charges the phone, okay, but it's more effective at cooking your phone than it is at charging it. Now, these will be cooled, which is awesome to see, right? Make it cool down, right? Not heat up your phone battery, right? Which kind of decreases the lifespan of your battery. Heat, that's not a good thing. So cooling it is going to just increase the efficiency of charging and ensure that your phone isn't overheating. So that is also a very good thing to have. You don't want a hot brick of a phone. Now, the Model Y L has 85 cubic feet of space cargo capacity compared to the 76 in the regular Model Y. So 2,500 liters versus 2,100 liters in the current regular shorter version of the Model Y. So clearly this is a bigger vehicle, especially when you put that third row down. Big trunk, okay? You're going to be able to put a lot in here. Also, there are hooks now in the back of this Model Y L. It actually took me for a surprise that the current Model Y generation and the previous generation don't have hooks in the back to like hook luggage or groceries or bags or anything like that. It's just there's nothing but plastic and cloth back there. But now the Model Y L does have hooks, so you'll be able to hook things that if you want to, groceries, luggage, body bags, basic stuff. The screen in the Model Y L is also 16 inches compared to the 15.4 inches in the regular Model Y. Wonder why Tesla made that switch. They gotta add that 0.6 inches, just a little more for the Model Y L. Again, I'm curious why it's a little bit bigger and why it's not the same screen. I'm not complaining. It's not my money. It's a whole other conversation of manufacturing processes and why not just use the same screen and, economies of scale, save yourself some money. But if they want to use a new screen for the Model Y L, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's a new screen, which is a pretty pretty interesting, I guess. The rear screen in the Model Y L is the same 8-inch screen that we see in the regular Model Y as well as the Model 3. However, it does have cup holders right underneath the screen, unlike the regular Model Y where the cup holders are in the seat itself. Also, for the third row, there are armrests, and right next to those armrests, there are cup holders, and right in between the seats, there are 2 USB charging ports. And so passengers get a cup holder each and a USB charging port. Second row passengers get their own cup holders and USB charging ports. It all seems pretty good. Now, when it comes to the powertrain of the Model Y L, it, as we know, it has the same powertrain as the outgoing Model Y long-range all-wheel drive. This Model Y L is just an all-wheel drive vehicle. Earlier, when we saw the test filings for this long version of the Model Y in China, it seems that Tesla was also working on a rear-wheel drive version of the Model Y L. Whether that will actually come to fruition and be a product that's sold, that's up in the air, but the first version we get is an all-wheel drive version. That being said, as you know, it shares the same powertrain as the long-range all-wheel drive version, normal version of the Model Y. And that's getting 751 kilometers of range on the CLTC cycle, which, I believe my math's correct, it's like 440 miles of range, which is totally inaccurate. CLTC is very giving, okay, very lenient. What we know is the EPA estimate is much more accurate, and when you do the math, you get about 320 to 330 miles of estimate of EPA estimated range for the Model Y L. Of course, when it comes to the United States, we'll get official numbers, but it doesn't seem like efficiency has changed that much between the Model Y L and the regular short, long range all-wheel drive version of the Model Y. And so even though it weighs a little more and is a little longer, bigger, efficiency hasn't drastically changed. As you can see, for the price of the Model Y L, we're looking at 339,000 Chinese yuan, which converts to about 48,000 US dollars. And when you look at the comparison between the US price of the Model Y and the Chinese price of the Model Y, there seems to be about a $5,000 difference. And so if this were to come to the United States, we could expect a starting price of like $50,000 to $55,000, which actually isn't bad. And when we first saw the Model Y L kind of be teased in, the images and a bigger version of the Model Y, I kind of thought, what part of the market is a segment is this competing for? Because I don't think we have a lot of vehicles, 6-seater vehicles in the EV space that kind of competes here. It's like the Model Y, especially in the United States, is kind of going in a segment of its own, particularly for the likes of our EV9, that is the cheapest 3-row EV SUV that you can get in the United States. That will be kind of comparable in price. But again, it's a Model Y, it's a Tesla. It's going to have the software, it's going to have the supercharging network, it's going to have those other creature comforts that just kind of make it a little bit better than what the EV9 might have to offer, depending on who you are as a buyer. Then you start looking at the EX90, the Mystique, the Ioniq 9, the R1S, these larger 3-row SUVs. Lyric Vistic. What am I doing? I say that wrong all the time. When you start looking at these other 3-row SUVs that are $70,000 to $90,000, they're kind of like in between both the Model Y and the X. And this kind of puts us on a whole other conversation. The Model X, worth noting, the Model Y L is 3 inches longer at the wheelbase than the Model X, but is still a few inches shorter. Now, exclusive to the Model Y L, apparently this Model Y has a new generation suspension system equipped with continuous variable damping. Whatever the hell that means, okay? Better suspension, that sounds great to me. All right, the Model Y had a huge improvement in suspension over the previous generation to the current Juniper generation. So it'll be interesting to see what that actually drives like. Deliveries are expected in September 2025 for Chinese buyers. There are already some Chinese YouTubers of sorts, car reviewers, who are actually reviewed the Model Y L. Hopefully, I'll give that link to Jordan. That will be linked in the description for you guys to kind of check out for yourself and kind of see the video. But it'll be awesome to see this here in the United States to get a full idea of what this thing rides like. Already having a longer wheelbase, hopefully this improves the ride quality. Then with a newer suspension system on top of that, boom, you have an overall way better vehicle. That being said, the Model X did have a price increase of $10,000, going from $89,990 to $99,990 with a new Lux package, which comes standard with the vehicle. It is mandatory, which adds on $10,000. This Lux package comes with free supercharging and connectivity and FSD, a bunch of other hoopla. Point is, the Model X now starts at $100,000, which puts it well above the likes of our R1S, our EV9, Ioniq 9, even our EX90. And so, in our Vistic. And so it's kind of above those. But if the Model Y L comes to the United States, $50,000 to $55,000 USD, even $60,000 USD, that is still well below the likes of the R1S, EV9, Ioniq 9, Vistic, and the EX90. And so it kind of puts it in a place of its own. It's going to be interesting to see how this competes in sales. It honestly, in my opinion, makes the Model X look like an even worse value as an SUV. And it's amazing. I'm actually impressed with Tesla on this vehicle. I mean, cooled wireless chargers, thigh support, the retractable armrest. I mean, it just seems like Tesla's given a little bit more than I think I'm used to seeing them do. And the Model X doesn't even have, much of this. I mean, the Model S and X are slowly getting outdated. They're no longer in China. And so this would be a vehicle that would replace the Model X, which also puts in the air, maybe this vehicle doesn't come to the United States. Maybe it is a Chinese-only vehicle to help replace the Model X, and will keep the Model X for the United States. That being said, the Gigafactory still is only using like a quarter of its total production capacity right now, if not a lot less. And so they have room to grow and add on other models. We also have rumors of a cheaper version of the Tesla Model Y coming very soon. I'm not going to make a whole other video about that. But clearly, Tesla did good with the Model Y L. It's in a weird place in the market, right above the Model Y, good bit below the Model X. I think it puts it in a pretty good sweet spot, which makes me pass the question on to you. What would you pick between the three? The Model Y, the Model Y L, and the Model X? More specifically, between the Model Y and the Model X as we know it. Would you pick a Model Y L for 60 grand or a Model X for 100 grand, just base vehicles? What would you guys pick? Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Out of Spec Bits, and I'll see you guys in the next one. At this point, it seems like Tesla is just trying to Model Y the world. We got a cheaper Model Y coming very soon, apparently, according to Elon. We got the regular Model Y, and now we get the big boy Model Y, okay? Everything is just Model Y'd up. Don't even bother getting anything else. Just get a Model Y. You want the cheap one, you want the normal one, you want the big one. It's pretty interesting.